Hey, this is Zach. I'd like to remind everyone that Donald J. Trump said he'd end inflation on day one of his second term. Remember that? Now the Consumer Price Index just came in at 3.8%. Biggest jump in 3 years. Gas is up 28% year over year. Same thing with groceries and housing and utilities. And on average, your paycheck only went up 3.6%. With inflation at 3.8%, you're falling behind. What caused this, you might ask? Well, first, tariffs. Foreign countries don't pay for them. Trump keeps lying about that. Tariffs are taxes on American importers. The importers pass them to the retailers pass them to you, which means you're paying all of it. The 2025 tariff regime, Liberation Day plus everything else after, pushed the average effective tariff rate above 23%. That's the highest. It's more than in a century. The GOP seems to hate taxes on the rich. The rest of us, clothing's up 17%, food's nearly 3%. Roughly what a full normal year of grocery inflation used to look like is now squeezed into about 2 months. Have you thought about buying a car recently? You might want to consider a mid-sized bicycle. One more thing, tariff costs increases take some time to fully reach the shelf. So if you're wondering whether it's gotten as bad as it's going to get, it hasn't. Next, Iran, Operation Epic Fury. Bro, Iran shuts the Strait of Hormuz down. 20% of global oil and liquid natural gases go through that strait. Crude oil jumps like 10 to 15% just in a couple of days after this happens. Gas prices went up 48 cents per gallon in the first week. Now they're up more than 28% year over year. Before the strikes, the Trump administration had months to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The reserve exists for oil supply emergencies. Guess what they didn't do? Trump on gas prices going up. It's a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. His words. In West Virginia, a standard fill-up now runs about 5% of the median weekly household income. A small price, right? And the damage isn't just at the pump. Fuel costs are embedded in shipping, fertilizer, packaging, airline tickets. I hope you weren't planning to travel anytime soon. You might say, well, wages went up, right? Doesn't that help? Sure. Wages grew 3.6%. Inflation is 3.8%. That's negative real wage growth. Your paycheck buys less than it did 12 months ago. Here's the other terrible thing about inflation. Even when wages eventually catch up, they catch up to the new higher prices, not the old ones. Prices don't come back down. If a cart of groceries was $60 before Liberation Day and it's $75 now, 6 months from now the tariffs get reduced, it doesn't go back to $60. If we're lucky, it drops a few dollars. It's called price stickiness. Companies raise prices fast when costs go up. Now here's the part that should make you angry even beyond the tariffs and the war. When there's a real supply shock, it creates cover. Companies that aren't directly affected by tariffs or their oil prices can still raise their prices, and it's really hard to call bullshit on this. Corporate profits drove 53% of inflation in 2023. In the 40 years before the pandemic, that number was 11%. Here's an example. Procter & Gamble posted an $800 million profit increase in a year when their commodity costs fell. They kept the savings and didn't pass it on to you. Kimberly-Clark raised diaper prices over 30%. And then wood pulp, which is weird, the main ingredient, fell 25% the same year, yet diapers stayed up or on. Costs go up, prices jump. Costs go down, prices stay the same. And now with tariffs and an oil war running simultaneously, every company in every sector has an excuse. A software company with zero exposure to tariffs can still send a price increase notice that says, due to current economic conditions. And what choice do we have? Now, both parties take corporate donations, corporate money. I'm not going to pretend that's not true. You can look at opensecrets.com. It's all that information's there. Pharmaceuticals give to Democrats. Wall Street gives to both. Defense contractors give to whoever is on the Armed Service Committee. The corruption is bipartisan. However, corporate donors to Democrats are usually trying to slow down a regulation or block a drug pricing bill, which is utter garbage. It costs people money and costs them lives. Corporate donors to Republicans get something different. They're buying a party that passed the tariffs, screwing the supply chains. The GOP launched a war on a global oil checkpoint without a backup plan. While inflation accelerated, the GOP signed a $5 trillion tax cut. Don't forget about that one big, beautiful bullshit bill. 70% of the tax cuts go to the top 20% of earners. The top 1% gets $1 trillion over the decade. How'd they pay for it? Medicaid cuts, food stamps, education expenses. 15 million people are expected to lose coverage on SNAP. Since Trump was reelected, U.S. billionaires have added nearly $2 trillion to their collective net worth. That's 31% in 16 months for less than 1,000 people. So, both parties take the money, but one party has also created the situation that makes these bribes worth it. The tariff chaos and war and inflation and the fucking tax bill. All these things are happening at the same time. A package deal. The companies know what they're buying. Trump said he'd kill inflation on day one, and he's imposed the highest tariff rates in most of our lifetimes. He started a war in the Strait of Hormuz with an empty petroleum reserve. He signed a tax bill that transfers $1 trillion to the top 1% while cutting all the programs you rely upon. Prices don't come back down. The floor moves up and the wages lag behind. What do? I keep saying this. Call your representatives. 202-224-3121. Tell them to fix this, or they'll be the ones collecting unemployment. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment, and fight for democracy.